A very good morning to you. Thank you so very much for staying with us here on Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Wiyag Mofogwe. Again, appreciating you for making that very crucial decision to join us here on the program. And we have a lady who will be complimenting the show for the last time this week until we switch button. Jumai Manson. I will intentionally leave out the middle name for once this week. Let's allow you breathe.
The whole world already knows this week, yeah.
Oh, I wish I could take it back, but I don't want to.
But it's fine, good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing very well.
Well done. And to each and every one of you out there, good morning. Of course, I am Jumai Rikia Manson, and we put that in there.
Right, for the records.
For the records. But it's great to be here. It's a beautiful midweek, and it's Wednesday, and we're excited, right?
Of course we are. We don't have a choice. The weather has flipped on us, but it still feels cool.
No,
it was a bit breezy this morning.
Fantastic.
Right. You know, as I was coming, I was just reflecting. You see how life, several things in life can be very, they say transient.
Yes.
They say fleeting. For example, yesterday was heavy downpour, flooding all over the city. Right, but today I came dry.
Yes, you did.
I'm home and dry.
Home and dry.
All right, so for me, I think the real life lesson I'm learning from it is that nothing stays permanent, right?
Yeah.
Some things may be going in a certain direction. You may even feel overwhelmed.
Yes.
You feel this is the end, or this will never come to a halt. But all of a sudden, things take a different direction altogether, right?
Yes,
and that's the way it is in real life. And in a matter of months, it's going to also be the dry season. You're going to have the harmattan, you're going to have the wind, people dealing with dry lips, dry skin, that sort of thing.
But the thing is, like I've always said, now, before I get to what I want to say about the dry lips, dry skin, change is a constant in life. It's very important that you must experience and embrace change.
Right.
It's very important. That's a sign of growth. That's a sign of development, all of that responsibility, all of that encompass. And then of course dry lips, dry skin, all of that precautionary measures. Please get the normal oily stuff. You don't even please just prepare yourself, just like the rain now. We spoke about the rain, where you should get your umbrella, you should get your raincoat, you should do all the necessary important things in that aspect. So if I see someone with dry lips, like hello, we have gloss that you can use,
Are you living on another planet? That's the question in your head.
Yes, exactly. Are you please do the needful. It's very important. And if you cannot afford the expenses of, just get the local stuff. Shea butter will do a lot of good.
It works wonders.
It works wonders. So please do the needful. You don't have to come out
uninspiring.
Uninspiring. Exactly. So do the needful, please. Very important.
All right, so we're ensure it doesn't turn out a dry show as always this morning. Of course, our focus would be on the political landscape, especially as it has to do with the big players who are now defecting, aligning, realigning, and having to rethink their stance in terms of partisan politics. And all of this, we understand, is geared towards the 2027 general election cycle. We'll talk to you about those and more after this break. Please do stay with us. A while ago, we heard, in some cases, we saw governors who told members of cabinet, especially commissioners and other aides, that look, if you have ambition to stand for election in 2027, you have until such time to resign your appointment so you can go pursue your ambition. Something you have a right to. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also did not leave any stone unturned in that direction. He had not made clear to members of his cabinet that, look, you have until 31st of March, which of course elapsed yesterday, to rethink whether you want to stay in this appointment or you want to go pursue something elective, as a governor, as a legislator, whatever that is. And we understand one of the persons who have taken that, if you like, call it bold step, decisive step now, is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Maitama Tugra, whom we understand has ambition to stand for election for governor of Bauchi State, and you have a few other gentlemen who we understand will do the same across different states. In my home state, for example, I mean, they say charity begins at home and justice from the next door.
Yes, it does.
We're seeing a handful of people, including the Commissioner for Education, Dr. Padi, who is also now wanting to stand for election. All right. So all of this is just to say that the political landscape is changing. People are asking themselves, do I want to keep being an appointee of government, serving this role in this capacity, see how much of difference I can make, or do I want to say, no, I need something to be more executive?
Yes.
Maybe local government chairman, you want to become governor, or you say, there are areas of our national development I want to make an impact in, maybe as by way of legislation and all of that. You say, okay, let me go to House of Assembly, let me go to House of Reps, let me go to Senate, and all of that. So we've seen that happen. And we're also hearing that the Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu,
yes,
also wants to run for governor in his home state of Oyo. It's going to be quite a protracted season for politicians, but
yes,
of course, as always, as expected, this will be different from 2019 and 2023 because many of those factors have changed. In 2023, for example, President Bola Tinubu, then the candidate of the APC, was not in this role as the commander-in-chief.
Yes.
Now he is. He has a lot of latitude in his favor. He's the leader of his party, the ruling APC.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's so much he can do. Besides, he now has many of those governors who used to be in other parties, particularly the PDP, moving into the APC.
Yes.
However, there are those who say that Nigerians and indeed politicians should not be in a hurry to draw conclusion because a lot can change between now and election day. And one of those concerns that have been consistently expressed is that you'll be shocked. Some of these governors in the APC today would also leave before cock crows.
Of course, we know how it is, and we know that there's a lot of tilts and turns when it comes to politics, and of course politicians. But let's just see what it brings. Like you said, and many individuals will say to themselves, "Okay, maybe I want something bigger. I want something higher. When it comes to executive level, I want something bigger, or what I can put my weight on, or I feel my capacity will bring in goodwill here and there." So let's just see what it brings, basically. And I just feel, like you said, the only constant thing in life is what change. So let's just see what it brings, and let's see the good that these politicians are bringing, since they are dropping one appointment for another to see if they can get another. It's a very big risk, though. But you see, that's the only thing. You take risk in life in order to attain whatever height or greatness that you want. So at the same time, let's just see what this brings to the table and see how well it's embraced, not just by his own ambition or the family, but the public, individuals whom you're going to represent. How do they see you? Do they know you? You know, on a lighter note, you know, the Minister of Power, you know, of course, the allegation of saying that he wants to contest for the governor of Oyo State. And then I was like, 2 weeks ago, he just promised us power. So what happened to that promise?
Well, life is that.
And then a friend of mine said, we're going through yesterday, he said, if he cannot fulfill what he said when he was Minister of Power, then I wonder what he's going to do when he becomes governor of Oyo State. On a lighter note, and these are the things that people look at. A lot of it's called a background check. What you have done, what you have been doing, the impact that you have made, promises that you have fulfilled. All of these things come into play. So I would have loved him to fulfill what he said about power, and then, you know, well, I'm not from Oyo State, but let's just see what that means.
No, we don't have to be. But Juma, I'm not going to be the one here to mess up your midweek, right?
No, please.
Chief Adebayo Adelabu cannot do anything about the power sector.
No, but he made a promise. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to circle back to the promise.
Okay.
He made the promise.
And apologized.
He made the promise virtually 3 years in the saddle, or at least well over 2 years in the saddle. At least he was inaugurated alongside other ministers in August of 2023. This is 2026. So 2 years and a half down the line, or a little longer than that, you now make a promise. So what had been your challenges the entire time for well over 2 years? I'm not asking to hold brief for him.
I'm not.
But we're saying, you know, you use the term background checks, right? Have you asked yourself, why is it that when private entities are hiring, they say, Jumai, so we have an opening, for example, for HR manager, and then Jumai Manson applies. And it turns out Jumai Manson has 2 degrees in engineering. The entire time, all through her career, she has worked in telecoms as a senior engineer. she has not had even a stint, the smallest of experience in HR management, right? And now this company wants somebody who has done, give or take, 17 years in HR because they are a mid-sized company, right? Are we going to hire Jumai because we like her face, because she's in our party, because she comes from our place? No. We want somebody who has
competence. Professionalism.
Exactly. They say you must have
what it is.
Cognate experience. That's the term they use. Cognate means that you have an experience along that line.
True.
You have an experience or a skill set that aligns squarely with the role we are hiring for. So the question is, what had been the experience of Chief Adebayo Adelabu prior to being appointed in that capacity? You might say that in this country we say people should put square pegs and square holes, round pegs and round holes. I don't know the shape of this peg and what kind of hole he was expected to fit into in the manner of speaking, but I'm saying that people can give what they have proven not to have. And you may not blame them much because we all have our areas of strength, we have our areas of weakness. I give you an example. You can't just pick me from nowhere and say, I should come work in the aviation sector. The first question you're going to ask is, does we have the capacity, the competence, the skill, the experience? Does it even have the wiring? All right, people must be wired for a role. It's like politics. You see people who are spokesmen for political parties, whether at the state or federal level or national level. See how they talk. Compare maybe 4 or 5 of them. You will know that there's one particular one who stands out as a spokesman. He may not even be the best of politicians, but he knows how to deliver the goods when it comes to the direction of his party, when it comes to the messaging that his party wants to put out there. We're saying this to say that Chief Adebayo Adelabu has proven that he can't do much about this. And again, you see, like you mentioned, people must be able to go back to see, what has this person done before? People don't just break out from, the cracks of the sky and perform wonders. No, there must be that sort of insight as to, because this person has done X, Y, Z in the past, we can at least expect this and that, right? But in this case, we haven't seen that. Even within the sector, there are stakeholders, critical stakeholders who have said that, look, the president must by all means rethink the idea of this appointment. In fact, even within the agencies that fall under the purview of the Ministry of Power, there have been calls to say, look, this is not working. Can we get someone who can put their foot on the ground and show that they have what it takes to drive the sector? Finally, where did Chief Adebayo Adelabu meet the power sector, and where is he going to leave it now? I leave that to my opponents.
Not your opponent. That's food for thought. And then at the same, just to add to what you've just said, I understand all of these things, and that is why I brought it up on a lighter note.
Right.
Sometimes, as an individual, you should never leave anything to chance. If you're given an opportunity, make the most out of it. Some people don't understand that. If you're given an opportunity without any experience whatsoever, this is the part where you go back to the drawing board. Never be too big to ask questions. Never be too big to call individuals who understand what this is all about. Come, let us work together to make an impact. Never leave an opportunity unattained. It's unfortunate that many of us, we do not understand that. Even if you do not have the qualification, the experience, professionalism, there are people who understand.
You can consult.
You can consult. That's what I'm saying. And to make it funny, you have a political ambition. And all of these, it's just like, it comes back to you. Like you said, you cannot give what you do not have. But when you get to a particular appointment, it's the same thing. You must give back. There are areas that have lacunas that you must feel. So that is why you can, if you were really passionate about this, even when you do not have any line of engineering or whatsoever, or what it gives or what it takes, you can consult and you can make a difference. I have seen individuals who are not even qualified for a particular position, but guess what? They make the best out of it. You must never leave anything by chance or to chance. It's just that unfortunately we have this I do not care attitude. We're too lackadaisical. We do not care. Why don't we care about it? Because you can do whatever you want in Nigeria and get away with it. No one asks questions. They just leave it unattained. But that's what I'm saying. He would have consulted. He would have called individuals who who have the experience, who can bring it to the table and work with them. If you're passionate about giving your best to individuals and whom you represent, it takes one that really understands that.
It does. Who knows? Maybe Chief Adebayo Adelabu brought his political side to the job as against his technocrat side. Well, all of that will be history now, quite frankly, because Nigeria, indeed, the power sector must move forward. And here on the program, we're moving forward with Ramsey Enoch Agbo, who is bringing us heart-to-heart inspiration.
Hello and welcome to another moment of heart-to-heart inspirational. Let's talk heart-to-heart a little bit, because a lot of people have not been able to bounce back after the last time they failed. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Welcome to Heart-to-Heart Inspirationals. Failure is a feedback and not a funeral. I want to say that again because of people who failed. Some people fell and they remain on the ground. They never got up again because of what they feel people around them are going to say. But then failure is a feedback. And that's why some people tell you all the time that whatever happens, all right, there is a lecture from every lesson. You know, whatever happens to you in life, there is something that you are meant to learn from it, either positively or negative thing that you need to take cognizance of and be watchful as you move on the journey of life. So I just want to tell you today that failure is a feedback and not a funeral. What kind of feedback did you get from that last failure? Have you even tried anything at all? Have you experienced failure before? If you've not experienced failure before, it means you need to try harder. Because on this journey of destiny, people who are successful today are people who have failed a number of times and they got up on their feet, learned from their mistake, and their mistake became a stepping stone for them. And of course, they are where they are today. Why? Because they never allow that failure to become a funeral to their dream. What am I emphasizing? As a matter of fact, let's normalize something today, all right? Let's normalize something today. A failure, you've heard about it all the time. Okay, this person is a failure, that person is a failure. You know, people assess their counterparts, their neighbors, their brothers, their colleagues differently with different perspectives. Some persons already have been tagged as failure, and that has been affecting a lot of people. But then, have you accepted that you are a failure? That somebody told you are a failure does not make you a failure until you accept that you are a failure. All right, not because it feels good, yeah, but because it is necessary. Sometimes, you know, it's risk. It's risk. If you have taken a risk before, and of course, it didn't go well the way you think it was going to go, and you failed, it doesn't mean that is a funeral. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try it again. I was speaking with someone a few days ago, yeah, and we're talking about a particular business, and the young man told me, now I am successful. But then, during my wilderness experience, when I was in the workshop, nobody knew anything about me. When I was failing over and over and over again, I lost money several times. I had to stay indoors and think of the next thing to do. He failed severally until he said, no, I am not going to allow this failure become a funeral. My dream is not going to be cut short by this failure. And he stood on his ground. Consistency. I must always emphasize consistency anytime I come up to speak to anyone on heart to heart, because it is very important. If you want to succeed in life, then consistency and discipline is very important. But the bottom line is this: nobody ever succeeds without first stumbling. Yes, You stumble, then you stand again. Even every little child, before a child starts walking, you stand them up, you see them, they walk a little bit, they fall. They walk a little bit, they fall until their leg gets stabled on the ground. All right? And you see them walking firmly. Then before you know it, they start running. The same thing is applicable to life. So failure, as a matter of fact, is not proof that you can't. All right? It's not a proof that you can't do it. It's proof that you tried. It's a proof that you tried. When you fail, it means you tried and you failed. It doesn't mean that's the end. It reveals what doesn't work and refine what eventually would work later. That's what failure does. Anytime you fail, you know that, yes, this one does not work. Let me try the other one. It gives you a focus. It makes you know that, yes, if I go this way, I'm going to fail again. So I need to do something else. It's only a fool that do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. If you are doing one thing the same way all the time, you get the same result. You need to apply technicality, strategy, discipline, excellence every time. Whatever you do, let that touch of excellence be in your head. All right? So that when you fail in one thing, you try doing it the other way. But then don't allow that first, second, third, fourth failure be your funeral. Let your dream and your vision and your talent not be buried because you failed. Because that failure is trying to refine you. It's trying to build something in you. What do you have to do? I want you to know that failure, what it does is that it reveals what doesn't work and refines what eventually will work. But you need to have this mentality. Every setback is information. If you are willing to learn, yes, that's what it means. Every setback that you've had in the past is an information. Because there is something you need to learn from every setback, from every failure. Everyone throwing stones at you right now is because they know you are going somewhere. Let me tell you the truth. We have a lot of friendly enemies these days. Some people are smiling with you, but then they are not interested in your success. What they say behind you, if you hear it, hey, but then that shouldn't deter you. That shouldn't deter you because you have a destination. So every setback is information if you are willing to learn, because most people don't fail because they are incapable. That you failed, it's not because you are incapable, but because you are going somewhere, because you are dogged, because you are rugged, because you are determined, because you are focused, because you have a dream, you have a vision, something you are pursuing and something you want to get. You have a target. So when people like that fail, they fail because they don't stop. But if you stop anytime soon, it means that failure has gotten to you. Let me give you an instance, an illustration. For instance, a GPS recalculates when you miss a turn. It doesn't shut down. All right? Failure, in other words, simply means it's time to adjust. Anytime you fail, the message is, no, I need to adjust. This principle, this procedure, this formula is not working. I need to adjust. There is something I need to do so that I don't fail again. That's what it means. Anytime you fail, there is a message. It is telling you it is time to adjust the procedure. It is time to re-strategize. That's what it means. All right, so you don't need to abandon your journey because you failed. There is a practical mindset shift that you need to have, and this is it. Number one, stop attaching shame to failure. Yes, stop attaching shame to failure. Some people, when they fail, they feel shy. Oh no, I'm not going to get on that stage again. They will laugh at me. No, I'm not going to do that business again. People will laugh at me. People will mock me. The same people will celebrate and want to identify with you if you are a success. So there should be a mindset and a mind shift for you. Extra lessons instead of self-criticism. Stop criticizing yourself because you failed. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people with other people because you failed. That you failed. Failure is not a funeral. Stop burying yourself in shame and criticism. Try again. make it better, make it wiser, make it stronger. That's what it means. All right. Failure is tuition paid for future success. That is a quote that I'm bringing to you now. Failure, I said, is what? Is tuition paid for future success. But if you don't pay, if you go to school now, all right, 100 level, you need to pay a tuition in 100 level. You get to 200, you pay another tuition before you can get to 300 level. In every of this level, there are tuitions to pay. If you want to change levels in life, don't be scared of failure. If you are scared of failure, you will never try anything good. So what you have to do? Keep pushing. Don't bury your dream because of one mistake that you made. I'll keep saying this. Learn, rise, and move forward. Don't worry about what people are saying. Don't worry about the situation around you. Don't think, oh, I have failed, I don't need to try it again. Keep trying. Change the strategy. Become wiser. Failure make you wiser. Because you walk through this way and you fail, you apply this strategy, this technique, this principle, this formula, and you failed. You will now need to re-strategize. Use another formula. All right? Until you get to your success. Until you get to what you want to achieve in life. All right? So you need to know that anytime you fail, it's a signal that you need to turn. You need to do something again. You need to re-strategize. You need to improvise, come up with something new. As a matter of fact, failure is not the best option for you. So what you have to do? Try as much as possible, right, to be sincere in everything that you do. Because if you want to please people, it will be disastrous. You don't need to please anyone, all right? You don't need to please anyone. It is when you're thinking about pleasing people that when you stumble, you say, oh, I've disappointed this person. I've disappointed even people who really love you, who want you to be successful. By the time you fail, instead of them condemning you, they will come and encourage you to do better. And that's the reason you need mentors. That's the reason you need people to talk to per time. All right? You need to talk to people. See, if you are embarking on a project, I emphasize mentorship all the time. I was speaking with a friend a few days ago and I told the person, if I want to do this thing you're doing now, it is going to be express for me. It's going to be easier. I may have hitches. There might be some times where you have losses or maybe failure at some point, but then you have people to ask questions. I have someone to ask questions. Hey, I got hooked here. What do I do? Even the disaster is not going to be as disastrous as it would have been if you never have anyone to guide you on this journey of destiny. You really need people, okay? Because as your association determine your acceleration in life, okay? And your friends, you need to be careful with the kind of friends you have. If you have a bad friend, it is disaster. If you have a good friend, it means you have a shoulder to lean on, a shoulder to stand on and be tall so that you can get to that success that you are running after, that you are pursuing. Yes, congratulations, everyone. You are a success going somewhere to happen. Don't allow anything stop you on the way. Not failure, not criticism. Don't bury yourself because you failed. Failure is not funeral. Bye-bye for now and have a beautiful day.
Right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning. And of course, that segment was Heart to Heart Inspirational with Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Hope you were well inspired. Now, at about this point is the newspaper review segment. And we're going to start with the first paper of the day. Now, we're going to flip over to the Daily Trust. And below the nameplate of the Daily Trust, it says here, Bala Mohammed moves defection to ADC, and that read you will find on page 8. Next it says Plateau JNI confirms 4 members killed, 10 missing, and that's on page 26. Now on page 26 again it says 28 reps switch parties ahead primaries. And the star story of the Daily Trust says Tinubu moves for new loans, debt to hit 195 trillion naira. And on page 8, it says El-Rufai returns to ICPC custody. And on page 16, it says commuters stranded as bridge collapse along Abuja Road. And it says here on page 6, South Africans picket Nigerian High Commission over Igbo King, or will I say Igbo King, right? And below that it says 2027 Abba versus Gauna again. And basically that is all the read on the Daily Trust. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the major headlines making rounds. Next is the Daily Sun. Over to you, Lee.
All right. Thank you. We'll begin with this one here, adjusting the nameplate. Says JAMB releases 2026 mock UTME results, deletes 20 CBT centers. Why were those centers delisted? You can find details on page 27. Federal government seeks tougher action on $88 billion annual financial leakages. The writer says tax reforms already yielding results. Knox kudos as Senate okays Tinubu's 9 trillion naira budget hike request. Budget rises from 58.4 trillion naira to 68.3 trillion naira. Extends 2025 budget to June 2026 as capital projects stall. It's quite a peculiar situation where multiple budgetary cycles are running side by side. Afrexim Bank leads $4 billion loan deal to strengthen Dangote refinery. Defense headquarters confident U.S.-Nigeria military collaboration will boost security. Back OK's promotion, conversion of 2,114 civil servants. That's in Enugu State. And lastly, El-Rufai returns to ICPC cell after mom's burial. That's on page 26. We understand that he's back in court in Kaduna in any case. Well, those are all your headlines from the Daily Sun newspaper today. Please be sure to look at details for yourself. Next port of call is the Daily Times.
All right, now the Daily Times newspaper, and above the nameplate it says military refutes claims of complicity in just attack. And news says here, NICOMSAT revenue tops $2 billion, signals rapid space sector growth. And the star story reads, NAS passes 68.3 trillion naira 2026 budget. And the writer says approves 9 trillion naira increase, moves oil benchmark from $65 to $75. And below that again it says troops neutralize terrorists, arrest 1,359, rescue 813 civilians, and that's from the defense headquarters. And that read you will find on page 2. And it says PDP Governors Forum Chair Bala Mohammed moves defection to ADC. And basically that is all the major headlines on the Daily Times. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast. Next is the Vanguard.
Let's start with the big one, sort of above the name mast. Nigeria's oil exploration drops 45% on limited activities. Why are activities in the sector limited? Read out details for context on page 20. Top left corner, court rules on El-Rufai's bail today. That will be in Kaduna court. Senate extends 2025 budget implementation to June 30. APC pressuring INEC to undermine us after Kwankwaso's defection. That's credited to ADC with details awaiting you on page 8. Just killings, Tinubu, Mufwang, NBA vow justice, has 3 riders with it. Plateau won't bow to terror, Mufwang declares. Confirms 28 killed in gunmen attack on Agwam Rukuba. Enough is enough. Atiku Obi Kwankwaso demand action. So who is acting now following this demand? Well, all of those are the details you will find on page 9. All right, there's a picture story here featuring Governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Ukpebholo, and his deputy Dennis Idahosa, flanked by Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Mohammed Patsi, there on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria's debt to hit 155 trillion naira as Senate approves federal government $6 billion loan request. We understand there's a $9 trillion deficit. Hopefully this loan request will close it up. But that story again has 2 headlines, 2 riders I should say. Experts highlight naira depreciation, debt service risks. Atiku slams Tinubu Senate over $6 billion loan approval in 4 hours. It's amazing how these things move real fast when it has to do with loan request. 27 reps defect as APC strengthens majority in House. All right, those are your headlines, but then you have columns you probably should read. All right, Nana, Saraki, Fasho, Diabumi, they're all part of today's highlights on the Vanguard newspaper. Juma will walk us right through the next one, and that is the Guardian newspaper.
All right, now the Guardian newspaper, below the nameplate on page 3, says 2027 mass defections in House of Reps as 28 switch parties. And still on page 3, again, it says Middle East crisis, marketers urge FG to consider temporary subsidy. And on page 3 it says insecurity, Tinubu meets security chiefs, summons Mufwang. And on page 6, where the star story is, it says NAS OK 68.3 trillion naira budget shifts burden of funding execution to federal government, that's the FG. And on page 22 it says airlines lose 32.5 billion naira to flight delays, cancellations in 1 year. Am I surprised? No. And on page 6 it says Transport Minister resigns as Adilabu shelves Oyo Gerber at ambition. And on page 4 it says deported Nigerians decry treatment in Mozambique as NITCOM urges calm in SA, South Africa, and that's on page 4. And on page 7 it says JAM releases 2026 UTME mock results, blacklist 20 CBT centers. That's not good. And on page 4 it says maritime inefficiencies, delayed reforms cost Nigeria 5 trillion naira yearly. And at the foot of the Guardian it says Afrim Bank leads $4 billion financing for Dangote refinery, commits $2.5 billion. And of course, that's the business page on page 23. And got to get yourself a copy of the Guardian newspaper to be well abreast with these major headlines making rounds. Next, we have the Punch.
Top right is where we begin from, has a picture of former, as it now stands, Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu. Says Transport Minister resigns. Adelabu others hold on. Look, Adelabu is the one holding on. Transport Minister has resigned again for political ambition. Page 2 is where those details can be found. Afrexim Bank drives $4 billion funding for Dangote refinery. We brought you that headline from multiple newspaper front pages this morning. Easter Defense Headquarters orders troop alerts, confirms U.S. support, has a picture of Chief of Defense Staff General Oluyede. I just sent the new masts. Defection tsunami. What a way to caption it. That's the the kicker. It says 27 reps dump PDP, others for APC, ADC. Now the shift has started, no doubt. But then the big one tells us federal government eyes oil windfall to fund 9 trillion naira budget gap. With 3 riders, federal government raises 2026 spending from 58.12 trillion naira to 68.3 trillion naira. Government bets on oil boom, fresh borrowing. National Assembly justifies budget hike, cites settling arrears and economic reality. Tinubu's $6 billion loan request gets NAS nod, debt set to climb, of course. Plateau killings, Tinubu invites governor as deaths hits 28. A Lagos CP withdraws task force from traffic duties. On pages 4 and 5, by the way, that's where you can find those details. CBN says tough cybersecurity timeline for banks on page 27. I think that is timely. Nothing is perfect, but we must continue to invest in securing banking infrastructure, especially the IT platforms. All right? Those are all the headlines we have for you on the Punch newspaper today. Next is the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, now the Nigerian Tribune, above the nameplate on page 3, it says here, Plateau, Kaduna killings, affronts to all Nigeria stands for. And that's from our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we have 3 riders there. It says direct security agencies to fish out perpetrators. IGP deploys DIG to JAS. Plateau governor reinforces ban on motorcycle operations. And of course, next read, and it's on page 3, says NAS passes 68.323 trillion naira 2026 budget, and the writer says approves additional loan of $6.9 billion within hours. And the Star story on page 13 says 30 reps move across parties, 14 join APC, ADC gains 9, PDP loses 12. And you wonder, you say to yourself, with the convention that happened on Sunday, why are they losing 12 members? Well, and you say to yourself, well, it's all about. Exactly. Well, let's just see what this brings. And of course, we have Riders Day. It says, we are leaving battered PDP for Wike on Thursday, okay? And it says, Bauchi governor declares likely to join ADC. And on page 4, it says, court orders final forfeiture of UK house linked to Jeremiah Hussaini. And on page 26, it says here, troops arrest 16 logistics suppliers, other bandits in Northeast. And the writer reads, fuel mass abduction, rescue over 150 victims in Borno. And on page 5, it says, FG unveils new standard for fairly used vehicles, says no certification, no entry. And on page 6, it says, Afrin Bank leads $4 billion financing for Dangote Refinery with $2.5 billion commitment. And the health segment says here, are you ready for this?
Always.
It's on page 26, and it says, scientists create device that warns of approaching heart attack. So, those are all the major headlines making rounds on the Nigerian Tribune. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast. And of course, this health part, I think that's a step in the right direction, because a lot of people are slumming, and you just hear that someone just slummed and died,
And that's the story.
I think we should get this device to help, give that warning sign to know what to do.
Right.
Well, all right. Well, God will help us. Next is the Blueprint newspaper. And
it turns out that will be our last paper on the show this morning. So we go there and look at the one above the nameplate first of all for you. Says NDLEA nabbs 104 drug suspects, seizes 1.8 billion naira drugs in Edo. All right, top left to the picture of the embattled former governor of Kaduna State. The read says here, El-Rufai back in court after mother's burial. Business, Afrexim Bank leads $4 billion financing for Dangote Refinery with $2.5 billion. And in sports, friendly, Super Eagles Jordan draw as it will be guest red card. National Assembly passes 68.3 trillion naira 2026 budget. Senate okay's Tinubu's $6 billion loan requests. Two writers say appropriation targets debt refinancing, key infrastructure funding. 2025 capital budget component implementation extended to June 30. That's for another 2 months thereabouts. All right, on the left side of the front page of the blueprint, 2027 Transport Minister Al-Kali resigns. Adelabu denies quitting office. Well, if he hadn't done that yesterday, I doubt if he still wants to be governor of his state. But nothing's cast in concrete. Let's not close that window just yet. Plateau killings. We won't bow to criminal elements, federal government. Writers say warns against spreading information that could heighten tension. Troops arrest 1,359 suspects, rescue 813 kidnapped victims. Makinde, PDP's last man standing as Bala joins ADC Thursday. ASU strike over agreements permanently over. That's federal government, but is that the case? We spoke with the president of the union just a couple of weeks ago. That was not the position or the posture that he presented on the program. I've not endorsed anyone for Rivers governorship, Wike, so fingers crossed. Hopefully Governor Siminalayi Fubara is listening too. Lastly, on the foot of the front page, capitalization, that's the kicker. ACAMB lauds banking sector's resilience over deadline. All of those details are on page 21. Right, well, that's how we wrap it up here on a newspaper segment this morning. Please be sure to read as much details on these headlines as you can for your own good. That way you can avoid misinformation and fake news altogether. Remember that these headlines are brought to you exactly as published by the respective publishers. Global Television, as a broadcast entity, does not in any way contribute to them, and so does the team here on the program. We'll take a break now. Shortly, Ogochukwu Mabuno will be here with Social Buzz. Up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media. Today is all about big money, big decisions, and even bigger reactions. Nigerian Senate has approved $6 billion loan request by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Senate has given the green light to President Bola Tinubu's request to secure external loans totaling $6 billion. The approval came after a report presented by Senator Aliyu Wamako, chairman of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, during plenary on Tuesday, March 31st. Now here how the loan is structured. In the first request, the president is seeking up to $5 billion through a financing program with First Abu Dhabi Bank. According to him, the funds will be released in phases and used to support budget implementation, fund key infrastructure projects, refinance existing debt, and meet urgent government obligations. President Tinubu also revealed that Nigeria's total public debt currently stands at a staggering $110.3 billion, which is about 159.2 trillion naira as of the end of 2025. He says this phase loan approach could help ease pressure on debt servicing. In a second request, the president asked for approval to issue naira-denominated government securities as collateral and make margin payments in US dollars, but that's not all. There's also a proposed $1 billion export finance facility from the United Kingdom, arranged by Citibank. This will go towards the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the Lagos Ports Complex and Tinkan Island ports. Following the announcement, Nigerians have taken to social media with mixed reactions. While some believe the loan could boost infrastructure and revive key sectors, others are raising concern about the country's growing debt profile and long-term economic impact. Some other persons feel this loan is geared towards the 2027 election. But the big question is on everyone's mind is this a strategic move for development or a risky step deeper into debt? Well, let's look at a video.
The House on the first legislative day of the week has moved decisively after considering the report of the Committee on Appropriations, which recommended a total budget of 68.3 trillion naira for the 2026 fiscal year. The report outlines key allocations, including over 15.8 trillion naira for debt servicing, 15.4 trillion for recurrent expenditure, and more than 32 trillion naira for capital projects aimed at driving infrastructure and economic growth. At the Committee of Supply, the recommendations were adopted, marking critical steps in the passage of the 2026 budget.
The bill as presented contained the estimate of the revenue and expenditure of the federal government for the 2026 fiscal year in the aggregate sum of 58,472,644,944,762 naira only.
The total sum of 68,323,309,818,667 naira only, of which 4,799,911,806 naira only is for statutory transfers.
In the same session, the House also approved President Tinubu's request to secure $6 billion in external loans. The borrowing plan includes a $5 billion facility from First Abu Dhabi Bank through a structured financing arrangement, as well as a $1 billion export finance loan from the United Kingdom. According to the president, the loans will support budget implementation, fund priority infrastructure, and refinance existing debts. The funds are also expected to boost key national assets, including the rehabilitation of the Lagos Port Complex and Tinkan Island Port. With the adoption of the budget framework and approval of new borrowings, lawmakers say the focus now shifts to implementation and ensuring value for money in the 2026 fiscal cycle.
Right, so that's the report for the debt that, or should I say, the loan that the president requested for the $6 billion loan. All right, let's take some comments from social media as regards this. The first comment is coming from that boy Godwin, and Godwin says, "We are finished. At the end, they're going to bring some ridiculous taxes to increase everyone's craze in this country." Thank you, Godwin. The second comment is coming from Robert Giwa, and Robert says, "Gameplay, they never interrogate before approving. It's like a call and response." All right, so those are the comments we have for you today concerning this particular topic. And I'm not alone today in the studio as usual. I have with me Uyi Agumofwebe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning to you, Ogochukwu. It's always a pleasure to see you. Incidentally, we're borrowing for you to pay later in life.
Okay, so talking about this loan, when I read about this loan yesterday in the papers, I was a bit, it didn't sit well with me, because I feel like, of course, we just noted it that we are sitting on a debt of over 100 and trillion naira as we speak right now, and we are adding more to it. So that means even the government that's going to come after 20 years and 30 years, I don't know how they're going to pay. And we keep seeing things going south. A lot of things are not going well. Yes, he highlighted what the loan will be used for, but then we're still not satisfied, because I am not satisfied. Let me speak for myself, because I've seen different loans, and I've not seen the outcome of those loans. I've not seen what it's used for. So what exactly are we doing? I remember when I used to sing with all my chest, my mind and body, we are the leaders of tomorrow, pay our school fees, and my parents did well to give me the best education they can afford. But we are still not the leaders of tomorrow. We are still there. And even the leaders we have right now don't seem to, appeal to most of us. What do we do, Mr. Oye? What do we do?
All right, so in 2016, for example, we had a recession. Then former president, now deceased, Muhammadu Buhari was in the saddle. And then we had a lady, Kemi Adeosun, who again at the time was Minister of Finance. She did tell us what the ramifications of that recession would be, and those elements played out real time. But she added by saying that Nigeria will borrow for the foreseeable future. So she didn't put specifics as to for how long the country will need to borrow going forward. Turns out it's 1 decade down the line, by the way, how time flies, we are still stuck in the web of borrowing, right? So it means that projection was nothing but correct, was accurate, was valid, and of course realistic. So the question is, why do nations borrow? Nations borrow because they see a need, they see a gap, either in their budgetary cycle or in critical sectors, all right, where they want to drive education, they want to drive health, they want to drive infrastructure, they want to drive energy, they want to drive, of course, telecoms and what have you, right? In the case of Nigeria, do we borrow on the basis of the same motivation? In other words, do we bring the same motive into our borrowing? Of course, the argument...
Are they in the papers?
Of course, yes, they are gathering dust at some point. The arguments in basic rudimentary economics is that there is no country on earth today that doesn't borrow. Of course, US is the biggest debtor in the world as it stands right now. But the question is this supposed to be a bandwagon kind of approach or method? The answer is a capital letter no, because for those countries that are also borrowing, those that actually are focused on delivering the goods, they are accountable, all right? They tie borrowing to real-time development. They marry borrowing with transformation, with reforms. In the case of Nigeria, the question is, do the results we get, the outcomes we record, I mean, are they commensurate with what we borrow for? All right, even in families, you're told if you want to borrow for business, don't borrow to eat, don't borrow to sponsor or fund weddings and parties of all kinds. Borrow for business, so that even if you borrow $1 billion, for example, as a young entrepreneur, let's be sure that
you can pay
yes, and your business is making progress in that direction. So that even if you are indebted to 20 banks, let the records be clear. Let the records show that you borrowed to expand your business. In the case of Nigeria, there are concerns. First of all, are those monies borrowed not lining up private pockets somewhere? Who is being held accountable in terms of what goes where, for what purpose, and who should be held to account when it's all said and done? Because again, the problem is we tell ourselves that government is a continuum, which means by the time President Bola Tinubu is leaving office, whether after 4 years or after 8 years, nobody is going to be asking him, Oga, you borrowed XYZ in the course of your administration. What did you do with it? Come and give account. The man lives there. The next government comes, complains. In fact, the next government will use that as a basis to also deliver mediocre performance, poor performance, and then leave office. And that vicious cycle continues. Exactly. And that's why you see Nigerians don't take government seriously when it comes to the fight against corruption, because these monies also find their ways back into private pockets. They end up in buying real estate abroad, building refineries abroad, offshore refineries, by the way, and sponsoring offshore education. So in the end, the question is it a problem of borrowing, or is it a problem of borrowing irresponsibly? And this Senate, this National Assembly, these 10 Senates, will go down in history as it stands today as the Senate that has been most fiscally irresponsible when it comes to approving all of these requisitions from
that
the
I was going to come to, because one of the comments says gameplay, they never interrogate before approving. It's like a call and response.
This went through in 4 hours,
yes,
just so we are clear.
In 4 hours. And everyone, I read a lot of comments, I just cannot take some of them, but everyone kept saying, how come we are having this being approved in less than how many hours? How come, normally when you even want to borrow a normal loan, you will go through different process. They ask you questions. Some will tell you, okay, submit your BVN. A lot of things go on. That's for, the normal kind of loan. Then this one that, is very big, and you're saying it's for, this particular A and B reasons. How come nobody is interrogating anyone? You just write and it is there. What is going on? That means when the president comes out to say, you know what, I want to run for a third term, this night no one is going to interrogate him. Everyone's saying, you know what, go ahead, because you are the president. Is that what we are seeing? Is that what's going to happen? Because it's happening right now gradually, but things like this, no one, just like you said, no one is being held accountable. If anything happens, nobody, they're not asking anybody for anything. You just leave the office, and the next person comes and starts servicing debt and all of that, and take it as an opportunity not to develop the country anymore, because they tell you, you know what, the former regime actually left so much debt for us to service, so we are on it and we cannot do anything about it. It's becoming like an everyday thing. It's becoming like a script, and a lot of Nigerians now know the script so well. They can tell you what's going to happen the next minute or the next day. Honestly, it's too bad for us as a country, honestly. Anyways, that's where we find ourselves today. Thank you so much, Uyi, for your contribution to today's topic. And that's the story making waves today. What do you think about Nigeria's new $6 billion loan approval? Smart move or cause for concern? Join the conversation on social media platforms using @GlobalTV_NG. I am August Kumobno, and I'll be leaving in the hands of Jumai and Uya to bring us into the discussion section of Global Morning. So stay with us. Good morning once again, Nigeria and viewers around the world. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Boss Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, Policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning.
For the latest issues,
Always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe. The issue of borrowing in Nigeria is going to be a very long, drawn-out conversation, really, because at the end of the day, our citizens are, well, validly so concerned about what exactly we're doing with all of the monies we're borrowing. The figures are humongous, And the economic implications of this borrowing are also very disturbing. And what usually happens is one government leaves, another one comes in, and that very disturbing cycle just continues. As of today, Nigeria is indebted to the tune of upwards of ₦1 trillion in whatever terms, whether dollar terms or whatever it is, euro terms. Those are very huge amounts we're talking about. So essentially, this indebtedness is to quite a number of institutions, and now we are turning to Abu Dhabi, somewhere in the United Arab Emirates, to borrow some more just to be able to close the ₦9 trillion gap that we're having with our 2026 budgets. What even gives people, citizens generally, more concern is how that we're not taking a look at how this rubs off on our economy in ways that are visibly and remarkably significant. Because at the end of the day, the more debts you have hanging around your neck, so to speak, the harder it becomes for you to make progress economically as a country. You know, somebody argued once, someone in government, of course, that look, for the fact that Nigeria can continue to borrow is a clear indication that we have a good credit rating or good credit score. Otherwise, these multilateral institutions would not agree to lend to you. But are we supposed to jump at that, be excited, and feel like a cat on hot bricks? The answer is no, because in the end, the problem is not just borrowing, but it is about how we borrow. Therefore, the question is, are we borrowing responsibly? Because at some point, it is, a case where Jumai will be one of those paying these monies that the government is busy borrowing the entire
Through tax, right?
Well, thing is, we've been borrowing for a while, right? And every government finds a reason to justify its borrowing.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's not even a question of whether citizens can do something about it. It's just a matter of government deciding we want to borrow from this institution this amount of money for this reason. Whatever anybody else says afterwards does not change a thing. That's part of what Ogochukwu was discussing
yes, I was
because of the
listening
program this morning, right?
Yes,
It's quite disheartening. But when you have a National Assembly that does not that has a reputation for not presenting, if you like, a counter position, not because you want to fight executive, but because you know, without being told, that your job, which already is clearly quartered for you, is to represent the overall interest of your people. And it makes the situation even far worse.
I know, I was talking with the guys in the MCR, like in the space of 4 hours, can you imagine? They didn't even have time to allow this to linger for a while. It just
instant noodle.
Instant, not really instant, but at the same time, it was very quick. It was very quick, despite the fact that the United Kingdom said they were going to come and help in that area with the Tinkan Port Island. Why are you still borrowing this huge amount of money? What do you want to? What is it for? So you just see these loopholes, and sometimes you just want to keep quiet about it, but sometimes you are forced not to just speak the minds, because the brunt will still fall back on us, the populations, because through tax, inflations here and there that we have to deal with, all of these things encompass. I want to believe it's for the greater good of Nigeria. Like I heard you when you said maybe it has to do with the health sector, education sector, and all of that. Everyone wants to try and find some kind of succor or volume when it comes to that, but I doubt that pretty much, and I think we have a long way to go when it comes to these issues of borrowing, when it doesn't seem right. It's just vague in my eyes, and you wonder, what is it for really? Why that huge amount of money? Like, come on, what's it for? When we already have the United Kingdom coming in the space of that light, that you want to go ahead and borrow from another, like, seriously, why? The common man will wonder and say to himself, it doesn't concern me, they will pay it. You are going to pay it one way or the other when it comes to tax and the rest, etc. So it's just unfortunate, really, but I think the needful needs to be done, really.
All right, but the point I was making with that you referenced a while ago was that when countries who are serious about development and growth borrow, they are already very clear as to why we're borrowing, into which sector are we going to plow these funds? All right, is it health? Is it infrastructure? Is it energy, education? Social good, generally, as they say. But in the case of Nigeria, the executive just comes, of course, under the leadership of the president and tells you, want to do this, Juma needs to change their wardrobe, she needs a second car, Juma needs a new house somewhere in Lekki, end of story.
True.
So nobody's asking, hold on a second, we thought Juma already has a decent accommodation here in Abuja, city center and stuff like that. Why do we need to give her a house in Lekki? By the time you are done asking that question, government is done borrowing. In fact, the money is already being spent in areas we're not even clear on. Again, like I highlighted, what exactly does the National Assembly do in light of its own mandates, all right, whether it's the Senate or the House of Reps, the Senate in particular in this case, all right, to say, look, dear executive, so to say, yes, we know we need money to do X, Y, Z, then we just borrowed not too long ago for this, and that, right? And in this instance case, this very immediate request that's in front of us, we have this, and this concern. But how will that really happen when you realize that it's more like politicians within this party, the APC, seeing it like, well, it's a family business. I think they see it more as a party affair than it is a Nigerian thing. My hunch tells me that the National Assembly, especially the Senate, sees this request more like it is amongst us, the APC guys. So it's far-flung. Yes, it's our show. It's far-flung for them to understand that we're borrowing on behalf of Nigerians. Therefore, you've got to be careful how you run this process. But again, that conversation is going to be very tough to have. Then lastly, the government told us, the federal government that is, that look, on account of suspending fuel subsidy payments in 2023, there'll be much more money to do stuff now, all right? We're not going to be going cap in hand to beg for loans and handouts and what have you, but that has not been the case
at all.
And again, when you have a government with so much of hallelujah boys who are out there to defend everything and anything, it further deepens the complexity around all of these issues. But for the everyday Nigerian who is watching, the point being made is that these monies are borrowed on the behalf of all of us, which means that we are all going to pay this money. It's not borrowed in the name of President Bola Tinubu. It's not borrowed in the name of the politicians who are in office today, whether they are appointed or elected. So we must show that as a country and as a government, we're responsible. Otherwise, we're just going to be here neck deep in the woods, and only God knows how soon we will get out of it.
And you know, it's unfortunate that we're not being carried along when it comes to issues. We just read it on the captions of newspapers. We just hear that there's borrowing has taken place, and it's this amount of money, $6 million, and then you just wonder, you say to yourself, what is actually going on? We're trying to put our foot down, and then this comes up again, and then the common man doesn't really understand it, and he says to himself, what is happening? He just sees that he feels the brunt of these issues when it comes to transportation. That is it. The brunt of it when it comes to education, when your child's fees is on the hike. You see the brunt of it when you cannot have free access to healthcare. You feel the brunt of it when you go to the market and you carry an amount of money and you're wondering, what did I just buy? And did I not just take 50,000 out to the market and then I'm just saying 2 groceries or 3 groceries? That's where you feel the burn. For an individual that doesn't really understand it, because it's like you said, it's from all our behalves, it's from all of us. We are the ones, Nigerians, borrowing this money, and it's just we have to find a way around it, because when we heard about the subsidy and the millions in which that we have, that we don't, everyone was happy, we don't have to borrow anymore and all of that. We can always find our foot down and do the needful when it comes to issues where we need monies. Unfortunately, that's not what it is, and that's not where we are. And you know, the world is evolving, and for me, I feel we're still, well, when it comes to these issues, we're just there. We've not moved past this particular area of borrowing. I think, like you said, some individuals, like the political parties, just feel we are the ones running this, so we can do and undo. We're like the mini gods. Whatever we do, no one is going to question, no one is going to ask us.
It's our time.
It's our time, so let's just do it. But remember, you have individuals in whom you represent the country at hand. And it's very important that once you pierce through that heart of an individual, to understand that a lot of individuals are going through a lot with these particular decisions that you make. It affects us as a country, it affects us as an individual in one way or the other. I think we can move past and move forward in a way.
Right, of course, we should by all means move forward. But then again, we are hoping this doesn't become a much more protracted situation. And Juma, you know, elections are around the corner, right?
Yes.
So when you have these this spate of borrowings, you know, this sort of back-to-back borrowing. People wonder, are we funding an election? What exactly are we? Because most times, because public trust is in deficit, or as I say, with our individual bank accounts, is in red, it's hard for people to take government by its own word. And the reason for that is not far-fetched. We can only hope that this ultimately is reviewed in such a way that what we borrow, we know exactly what it is we're borrowing for. But then for other politicians, it's not so much about who is borrowing for what. It is about who pulls their best foot forward going into 2027. By close of business yesterday, it was very clear that at least 27 lawmakers, that is 27 federal lawmakers, had resigned their membership of the People's Democratic Party, moving into two parties now, the APC and the ADC. And you might know it's very simple now to understand how politicians are doing this. So if you leave the PDP, we already know by default you are going to one of two parties.
Yes,
either the APC or exactly right.
Or APC,
yes. So we know you're not going home to relax.
No, you're not.
You're going to join another party. So it's either APC or ADC. But the question is, why aren't we seeing people leaving these other parties for the PDP? That may be happening in trickle, who knows? But it's almost not happening because the traffic, as we say on the internet, it's in the direction of the APC and
ADC.
The ADC, yes. And I think the spotlight now should be on the ADC, because I think people are really not surprised now when they see individuals and groups moving into the APC, because they already know that has become the tradition, so to speak. But with the ADC, they are wondering, like, hold on a second, is it not possible we underrated this underdog for too long? But see how they're doing. See their numerical strength expanding on a daily basis.
Yes, they are.
All right, see the caliber of politicians who are moving into that party. I mean, we saw a video where it was even the former governor of Kano State, Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso, who had gone to pick up the candidates of the party in the state's governorship election, that is in 2023, talking about Gawuna, from the airport. I mean, this is a man who had been in the APC the whole time. This is a chieftain, or what we can say former chieftain of the NNPP, now in the ADC, going to pick him up from the airport. You could tell the quality of conversation that would have been going on between these two gentlemen. So, which means, Juma, as we sit here on the program, we can authoritatively and categorically say that the politics of Kano has shifted.
Yes, it is.
Whether the ADC is going to win Kano State in 2027 is one conversation. But underneath that is the fact that the APC now realizes that it has so much of work to do to be sure that it wins that election in 2027.
Right.
I saw a chieftain of the party, all right, a gentleman, Halwa Hassan, on national television, saying that with these changes we have seen the last few days in Kano, the APC has lost the election. That's an APC chieftain talking. Now, why we may not share that sentiment, one thing is clear. The dynamics associated with the politics of Kano State have changed. Whether it's going to stay that way for long, we can't tell, but we do know that the APC now, as my people say, we have to look for, there's something we call Oja, all right, more like a small wrapper, but very strong fabric. You need to tie around, you need to tie it around your waist. That shows commitment, shows seriousness, it shows determination and strength. It shows that it is either you get results or you get results. But the APC now, we have to fight tooth and nail to have Kano in the bag.
Yes, you know, we said this yesterday, and I said strategy has to come into play. You have to bring in the best of the best. You have to try as much as possible to put your weight down in Kano State, because really, of course, we know when you hear Kano State, what comes to mind is Kwakwasians, and they are, back on back when it comes to supporting the former governor Rabi Musa Kwakwasian. They are head on behind him. Like I said, he's a people's person, and he has been someone that has actually not just doing the need when it comes to Kano State, but carrying the individuals along, and that is why he has this wide range of supporters. Like you said, politics in Kano State has taken a new dimension now. So it will take APC. They have to, they have a lot to do when it comes to the drawing board on the table and how well they can meet up with what is happening now. It's like that individual that came out and said that APC has lost the election in Kano State. Well, I beg to differ, because you do not know with politicians. I'm just saying that was how we lauded. Let's refer back to the Labour Party, where Peter Obi was trying to the presidential candidate for the LP, and of course we know how it was. Everyone already said it. He has won this and that, but we saw what happened. So let's not be too quick. We do not know what will happen. I am saying, as Jumaiman said, I am sure that the ADC will get some slots when it comes to senatorial, ministerial, all of the. I am sure, but losing completely when it comes to the APC, not so sure. I do not know. I'm just there, but with what we see, the heavyweights, they will get some slots at least. Bringing it all out there.
All right.
As far.
We're going to expand this conversation, Jumai, shortly. From the standpoint of this gentleman who made this very radical remark about his own party.
That's his own prediction
of the party. And we'll look at the basis on which he reached that conclusion.
Okay.
It's not something that is foreclosed, so it's not cast in concrete. It still can change. That's, again, like I said, we would find some sense in shortly, right?
We should.
Let's take a quick break now. When we return, it's going to be 3 of us on the set. Our guests will help us find out exactly what is happening in the political space in Nigeria. Please stay with us.
Is he around?
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
All right, let's dig deeper into the conversations this morning, everyone. Toba Owojaye is a political analyst. He joins us now to help find context and perspectives in the political developments in our country right now, especially across the major political parties. Toba, good to see you. It's been a while. First time in our live studios after a long, long time.
Thank you very much. It's nice being here.
Good morning.
Good to
Thank
have
you
the
for
boss.
being here.
Thanks, and nice to have the boss lady here also.
All right. I don't know where to start from, but maybe PDP's convention will be a good place to begin, right? PDP had a convention in November of last year in Ibadan, Oyo State.
Yes.
We know what the court has done to that process already. Now, there was a repeat, so to speak, in Abuja just a few days ago. That appears to be the biggest, most recent event in the PDP. When you look at all of this, given, again, the division within the party, how would you describe the PDP today? Is it a man on one leg or one already on the ground and fears no fall?
It's tough, but I would have to tell you that I told you so.
That was going to turn out.
That was going to turn out this way. We may not always like the outcome, but the ability to know the predictable outcome. There were issues before that Ibadan convention, and the issues were stated out. You have not held world congresses in this place and this place and this place, and it was stated. And for them to believe that you can just shove off all of that and then just go ahead means that you have to come back to that point. And we're trying to say, okay, let's be fair to ourselves. If this and these issues have been raised, even if you don't like the person raising it, look at the issues. I told them that if you want to beat Wike, it's very easy to beat Wike and his camp. Ensure the primaries hold fair and square. Atiku has beaten him in the primaries before. Yes. So run the primary legally. Everything he raises up as a legal concern, do it. And then get to that election. And then you have the people, you have the delegates, you beat him in the convention, very simply. But once you now fall into a legal infraction, you have tilted into a side where Wike is one of the best. And then it's going to start with because for political law in Nigeria, I think he's second to almost none in his understanding and grasp of political processes and political law. So with that, anything he punches, and this is the holes, you listen to it and you work with it. He took it to Saraki and all the others, and they all agreed with him before the convention. So this was not surprising to us that it would turn out this way. What's only surprising to us is that great people like Natasha and Lamido are also on board with him, with my mentor, Senator McCarthy, and a lot of other people. PDP can be redeemed. It's just we need to get these matters right.
It appears you're not very comfortable with the Wike block of the party, right?
No, I'm very comfortable with them. I just know that this is not a fight we needed. It's not something it could have been avoided. We could have had a bigger house. We could have had, these were matters that could have been resolved. But of course, one or two elements had to be pushed out of the party.
Are you disappointed that Natasha and Senator McCarthy that you mentioned are in bed, so to speak, with Wike?
No, I'm not. I'm just surprised. But I'm sure they have also looked at it. Would PDP be able to look at the time we're in April 1st? If the Supreme Court judgment comes out and it still favors the Wike camp, any other person who is still on board and still there on the order to Raki faction is doomed. So do you want to get yourself trapped, or do you want to contest in the election? Let's take Umbu Gado, for example. He jumped to the APC, and when he got to the APC chairman, governor decided that he wants to contest again. So he had to now jump back out to PDP. So that shows that he's not completely distrusting in the PDP. Means that the PDP will be able to field some candidates, and I will assure you PDP will win some seats. I don't think PDP will have a presidential candidate. They won't be the first, because APGA has already said they will not have a presidential candidate. I don't believe PDP will have a presidential candidate, but I believe that APGA will win some seats and PDP will win over 24 seats in the next election. PDP may pick one or two governors, you'll be surprised. But I can assure you, Wike starts from law. And when the law sides him, some other people will still defect. But the time is getting very short. And maybe time may not be on their side, but they will pick up some.
What about, I want to just take you back a bit.
Yes.
What are the factors actually driving most members of the PDP away from the party after the convention?
After this convention?
Yes. Yeah, 12 have gone.
27.
27, pardon me.
Just people are aligned in different places. There's the Northern Alliance. Most of the Northern PDP people have moved along with their core political leaders to the ADC. Okay? That is understood. You see, party is just a vehicle. There are people on the grand scale of things. There are people who walk. Party is just a shoe that they wear. When they want to go to this event, they wear this. When they want to go to the other one, they wear that. So for them, party is not ultimate. So now that the PDP will not be able to do their bidding, or they will not be able to have their way there, they will synergize to another party where they'll be able to have their way. It's just politics. It doesn't mean, of course, the PDP is very weak now, but in the next 2-3 months, you see a stronger PDP. The plan of Wiki, I believe, is for PDP to even be the second party after this election with the largest number of results, though I don't see anybody beating APC.
All right, interestingly, Wike has now been declared very formally the national leader of the People's Democratic Party, and he goes ahead to say we have taken back the PDP. When you look at that position, look at the statements, you look at the fact that the Turakilet faction is in the Supreme Court, as we understand, and then you now realize that, as you already highlighted time and again, time is of the essence.
Yes.
Does that already show that the Turakilet faction will now have to decide from two options? Either to say, look, let's swallow our pride, if you like, take ego out of this, put sentiments and emotions and biases aside and align with Wike, or we also do what other people have done, which we understand Governor Bala Botchester will be doing on Thursday, and move into the ATC. I mean, are those not the two options basically in front of Turaki?
Of course.
And it's
most of them, of course, Bala is already going to the ADC.
Right.
He's the PD, governor's chairman, forum chairman. So if the forum chairman joins ADC, it just remains Makinde, who is undecided. I think, and this is just my opinion.
Do you think Makinde is undecided or resolved to stay? Which of them is it?
Makinde is undecided.
So he can swing anyway.
You see, if you have a friend and you and your friend fight a lot, you fight other people a lot, you can never know who is stronger between two of you until two of you fight. So Wike and Bala and Makinde have always been friends. They fought together. So now they had to be pitched against each other. So now they now know who is stronger, and they've all are
who is stronger now by your own.
Of course, Wike is now the national leader. We are fighting in a party. I am now the national leader. You are now on your way to defection tomorrow or this evening. And then, if I'm able to push you off the hill, the top of this, there's this games kids play, where there's a pile of sand and one kid is on the top, and every child is trying to fight him. If I'm able to push all of you down and I'm on the top, for a man to be able to push out Atiku from a party, I think the basic fight here is to push out Atiku from the party, which has happened, and then let him and his loyalists go to ADC, let them go and try their hands there. Let's see if they'll be able to unite. They have the OB, they have OB there, you have Kwankwaso, you have Amechi, you have Atiku. What may be different in this election, that it's a direct primaries, which has not happened in a long time. So everybody is telling their support base to go and register. Now, this is the game changer. We cannot tell whose supporters have registered the most. We cannot even tell who is controlling the back end of that party software. So how do you know who is going to emerge? So Atiku is usually good in the delegates game, but now he has been drawn to a new water, which is the membership game. And we saw that Adamawa, he did a good work, had the largest number of registrations. I think Kano is going to beat that by Friday. So it may be a fight between Kwankwaso and Atiku at the end of the day. I don't see Obi emerging from either a direct primaries or a delegates primaries. So we should be looking forward to maybe a Kwankwaso Obi ticket, which will be.
But Bolaji, just before Jumai steps in now, Bolaji Abdullahi, the spokesperson of the ADC, had said that, look, we are likely going to settle for consensus within the ADC, for example. Does that not speak to the fact that Atiku will likely, it's guaranteed to clinch that ticket?
He's not. Of course, he's planning. You see, when you've been in this game long enough, you can read people. You can, let's say, like a mother can come into a house and see the house arranged. She can tell you which of the children arranged the house because they are all her children. If she meets the house scattered, she can tell you which of her children scattered the house because she knows the children. So we understand him intricately. We know he's going to, once that fear factor pushes in, he's going to push for a consensus. I don't think Obi can be bent, but Kwankwaso cannot. Kwankwaso cannot. It's almost impossible to change his opinion, which is why the APC, the northern APC people, refused him to come into APC. Remember, he tried to come into APC 3 times.
That he was even blocked at some point from seeing the president. That's the allegation out there.
The president even called for him. They did meetings, but the Ganduje and the other core people APC says, this man is not democratic. You people don't know him. He's not democratic. If we allow him in, he's going to throw all of us out. So they kept on using statements and taunts to ensure he doesn't enter APC.
To persuade the president?
No, to ensure that Kwankwaso, who they know has the ego, with those statements on ground and those taunts, he won't enter the party.
But we thought the president had interest in bringing Kwankwaso into
Yes, he wanted, but the northern block of people who are already in APC
overruled the president.
Yes, no, not overruled. They played the taunting game. Once the president had a meeting with Kwankwaso, you saw Ganduje come up with a statement that, well, he's welcome to the party, but he must come and join the queue at the back.
But isn't that how it should work?
Yeah, but you know that a Kwankwaso cannot accept that. He cannot accept that statement, talk less of that in reality. So, understanding politicians, you can understand how they will act. So he has gone to he has seen as a direct primaries. If he gets 2 million people registered in Kano, which he can do, and some other states in which he has support, Kwankwaso can emerge.
Let me take you back to PDP now. Yes. With all of these defections, looking at it, and for all these members defecting from one party to another, looking at the strength of the PDP, what impact will it have for future elections?
Like I said, if you notice, I said 2 years ago, people kept on saying Wike will join APC. I said no, Wike is not going to join APC. He has had all the chance. The president came up last year, May, and said whenever you want to join the party, the door is open to you. And he just smiled and laughed. 2 years before that, his name was put on an APC committee list, and he complained that night, and his name was removed the next day. Wike is not leaving PDP for anybody. After the and I'm saying this prediction again now, after the 2027 election, most likely if Tinubu wins, you see a lot of drawback back into PDP. And then PDP will now become the next strong party to APC. I think Wike is going to go for vice president. I believe Wike is going to bring
in 2031?
In 2031, for 2031. And it's going to bring a strong northerner who is surely not Atiku. Maybe a Lamido, maybe a McCarthy, I don't know. But you will see a strong push because by that time, Tinubu will most likely be through its position. Most of the people who have defected, they didn't defect because they love APC so strongly. It's a battle between two big brains that is not on the table. Big men can fight without staining their dresses and without moving from their chairs. So that's the game going on. Atiku donated the office that ADC is using as their secretariat. So it's not easy to go and beat a man in the building he owns and has been using for years and gave to you. So it's not going to be easy to beat him. The PDP knows that, the president knows that, Tinubu expects that his greatest opposition will still be Atiku, but also would love to have an Obi, because he knows that after all is said and done, the North will hardly support an Obi. So it's all a game that is still in play. And
so you're saying the APC and including the president wish that Atiku does not get the tickets?
Of course. Atiku is the hardest thing to beat in Nigerian politics. I'm sorry to say.
Why is that so?
Because the man is smart. The man understands politics. He has he understands northern politics. He understands Nigerian politics. He never gets his hands dirty. He never says anything in the public that can be brought against him. He's not a brawler. He's not a wee kind of person. He plays the statesman, but back end he does all the pulling and stringing, and it's not traceable to him except for those of us with very, very keen eyes. So he's always the hard person to beat. And if he seals the ADC ticket and Obi is trapped in as his VP, he will have a good chance.
Looking at the ADC, for instance, and we have big wigs like Atiku Abubakar, we have Peter Obi, we have Amaechi. Now, who do you think will emerge as the presidential candidate? Because I know that everyone has their own followings, they have their own followers, they all have their own manifesto as the back of their minds. So what if one emerges? What happens then to the ADC?
Yeah, which is what we expect. You see, like I told you, Kwankwaso is not somebody you can string along. Yes, he's joining now, but he's looking at the direct primaries. If I force a direct, you can't have a consensus if the 4 candidates don't agree to it, right? A consensus only works when all 4 candidates agree to it. Once one of them doesn't, you can't have a consensus. So he's looking at, if we don't have a consensus, I will match. Atiku is looking at, if we have a consensus, I will match. Obi is saying, if we have a consensus, I will match. Then the dark horse here, I don't think he'll become their ticket, but he's most likely pushing for a VP slot, which is Amaechi. If Atiku and Obi have a fallout, they may not, and Atiku still wins, he may not want to pick an Obi as his VP again. He may go for an Amaechi. So Amaechi is just on the wings, you know. Politics, you consider many things. If you don't get the seat, what else are you going to get? You know, so he's also playing his cards. He may emerge as the VP to Atiku. So I'm seeing a Obi Kwankwaso teaming. I'm seeing an Atiku Amaechi teaming on the side. But all of that, you can't just aggregate votes. You can't just say, okay, everybody who voted Atiku last time will vote him now. You cannot just say everybody who voted Tinubu in 2023 will vote him now. No, it doesn't work. You cannot say everybody who voted Obi will still vote him now. It's not. It doesn't just directly work that way. So it's going to be quite tough. And what's seen?
Kano is a very pivotal state to our elections. Of course, in politics, numbers are very fundamental. In the case of Kano now, for example, we see how that Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf had moved not long ago from the NNPP, a party that is, as I say, fully on the ground in that state, into the APC. But today, that dynamic in particular has changed because he's, estranged political benefactor has also now moved from the NNPP into the ADC, and we understand he has moved with his base and structure, as they say, and what have you. The gentleman who stood for election for governor in Kano in 2023 on the platform of the APC, we understand has now aligned with Kwankwaso in the ADC. Talk to our viewers how this development changes the politics of Kano and by extension its implications for national outlook.
That's one of the most interesting parts of this election. You see, Gawuna was the APC candidate, like you said.
Right.
He has the same white beard like you.
But he's this much more voluminous than
Yes. He's a very strong key man in Kano. Word on the streets is that, Kwankwaso has the strongest cult following in Nigeria after Buhari.
That's Kwankwasians.
Yes, the Kwankwasia movement.
Right.
So he has die-hard supporters. They wear this cap every day to their shop, to anywhere they're going. They have a sticker everywhere. So he's strong. Abba moving doesn't reduce Kwankwaso's strength. However, you notice that the House of Assembly also moved with the governor.
Right.
Which is strong. If you look at the defections yesterday in the House of Assembly, notice that the NMPP House of Reps also moved to APC yesterday. So the block of office structure is still with Abba, the governor, and APC, while the street following is still largely with Kwankwaso. Now, Kwankwaso has played a big game by drawing the APC gubernatorial candidate who Abba wanted to give deputy. And the deputy refused to resign. So in that dilly-dallying, they offered Gawuna come and...
an offer he could not reject, right?
An offer he could not reject. And he's strong. Like I said, the word on the street is that he controls the talks in the state. Most gentlemen you see in facing politics are not completely gentlemen. That's why I said people like Atiku cannot be tagged. So Gawuna versus Kwankwaso boys have had their drags before. So if you bring Gawuna and Kwankwaso now to one front, it's enough to give APC and the governor a sleepless night. And I heard that Ganduje went to see the president yesterday night. So I think that will be part of the discussion. Also, the deputy governor is being forced to resign. We are watching to see if that happens.
In Kano State, he has resigned already.
Oh, he has resigned already?
Yes, he resigned.
Good, good. I thought they will still fight it out because they want to force Gawuna, plead with him, settle him, do everything for him to get that seat. And I don't blame him. You wanted to offer me a seat, you were waiting for how long? Right. Am I someone that waits for you for forever? I have other offers. I think he may weigh the chance to be governor along with a Kwankwaso support. I'm not sure he will take the deputy governor's slot, but he has his history with Ganduje. They've been good together for years. Ganduje may be able to, and Ganduje is a smart politician. Meeting Tinubu, he must get something out of that meeting. He went to Badaru, he must get some things out of that meeting. I hope they were not trying to remove the Minister of Defense, because I will take a placard to the street for that. But they can get other positions. I think they'll be able to get Gawuna to be deputy. If they do not get Gawuna to be deputy, Abba is in trouble, big trouble.
So so there's also, again, to use your term, word of the streets, that the APC miscalculated by not moving early enough to compensate Gawuna once he lost that election in 2023. That's the ideal thing that a ruling party should have done, amongst other options, was to offer him a ministerial appointment straight away. Instead, they made him the chairman of the council of Bayero University, Kano, moved him from there later to become the chairman of the board of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN. For many politicians, political analysts, they say that move was counterproductive because that was not compensatory enough for a man of his caliber. Do you share those sentiments?
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. They gave him they moved him from a smaller position to a bigger, slightly bigger position. But and then they had to remove Ganduje as national
chairman of
chairman. So they became a bit weak. Barrow is strong in the States. Barrow wanted to have more grit in the States. But I don't think he's as strong as the two of them.
Right.
Yes, he's a deputy Senate president, vice Senate president, but I don't think he's as strong as both of them. He wanted, now they've gotten Abba. Abba is, the only good thing for Abba is that he was able to get his whole House of Assembly
with him.
He's able to get his senators with him. We also saw some of his lawmakers also defect yesterday with him. So this is pitching two strong teams. Both teams is like saying France and Germany. And then you now take Messi and add to France. Then you take Ronaldo and add to Germany. You're going to have a really tough match. And it can turn violent.
Well, you know what, Toba, I want to just pitch in now. You know, there was a statement my colleague mentioned. He said someone made a prediction, Lycée, and said Kano politics has taken a different turn now. Now that the former governor, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, has moved to the ADC, it means automatically that Kano, ADC has gotten Kano, their votes, their support, and all of that, because they have alliance with Kwankwaso. I want to put you in that position. How do you bite that idea, or you feel, nah, you know how politics is, it could change, turn anytime? Okay,
so let me choose your term. Nah. You see, like I told you, Kwankwaso is Kwankwaso. That's why it's called Kwankwasia. He is the Kwankwaso in the Kwankwasia. He is not debatable. His opinion is final. People think Wike has a strong position. Kwankwaso has a stronger position on matters. I don't see him, if he doesn't pick the presidential ticket of ADC, I don't see him pulling his weight for others. But he will pull his weight for his party in his gubernatorial election. He always likes to have a governor, right? The last election, he contested on his own platform. He didn't win, but he got his own state and he got his own governor. So he'll be looking at the same thing. He needs to make sure that the governor in his state is answering to him. If he becomes the presidential candidate of ADC, then APC should forget Kano. They will not pick more than 25% from Kano. Then every other small party should just forget Kano too. Okay? He's that strong. But like I told you, he is not democratic. Ganduje is far more democratic than him. Ganduje listens. Ganduje
I agree.
Can swing things. Look at what he did in Edo. They went to the Edo election. 2 people emerged. Two primaries. He saw that, okay, the narrative is with Edo Central. So he took the Edo Central candidate and put him in front, even though Denko was the stronger person.
Right.
And then convinced him to be deputy. And Gandhi was able to make that, and he worked for them. So he's a good negotiator. He will be able to pull in some strings, depending on his meeting yesterday with the president. Then nobody works for nothing. So I expect to see, maybe Badro will get a position. Maybe Ganduje will be able to pull off some strings.
So you make Gawuna?
Ganduje himself.
Okay, get a position for Gawuna?
Yes, for Gawuna. And if he can get a ministerial position for Gawuna before 1 week time, I think Gawuna will chill. Will chill and just stay on board. But Ganduje doesn't go for meetings without having clear options of what he wants. He was trained by Kwankwaso, so just he's more democratic.
Okay, what makes him more democratic? Just put that in line.
It's the ability to listen to people, the ability to be able to bend. The first, I remember that in Tinubu swearing in, he didn't have a seat. He didn't have a chair. He had to be looking for where to sit in the swearing in of Tinubu that he worked for. Or he didn't blast.
For a man who was just leaving government as governor after 8 years.
And he didn't blast, he didn't make a drama.
Kept his cool.
Kept his cool. Ministerial lists were even given from Kano, and he wasn't consulted. He didn't say a word. Till when some Kano people started making noise, and then Tinubu called him back. What about this lady that we chose? He said, you didn't come to me. Kano people don't know her. So that's where he now gained his position back. But it's his calm. The fact that he doesn't just go, he's calm. When he came to him, say, let's remove her, let's put this. And he consulted with his people, and they brought a name, and he brought the name. That's when the president now made it, say, in short, come and become APC chairman. And he did well in his time. And when he was removed, same thing, no drama. He was removed, he just claimed health reasons, went to rest in one hospital, and enjoyed his life. So that draws more politicians to you. The ability to be democratic makes people want to know that even if they don't, which is also something Tinubu has, even if you don't have everything, even if I come to him and I don't get anything, I'm going to live with something. That is something to work with. Wike and Kwankwaso are the complete opposite of that, but they have their own way.
Interesting. I want us to go back to the PDP, perhaps one more time in the course of this conversation. As it stands right now, the PDP has said, at least from the Wike standpoint, that look, we're not fielding a candidate. We've spoken with a couple of chieftains of the party who are aligned with Wike. They say, look, if anything, we are supporting President Tinubu. They are careful not to say we are supporting the APC. They say we are supporting President Tinubu for president. Therefore, we are not fielding candidates. Wike has categorically said, time and again, we are looking at 2031. Everything about 2027, as far as the presidency is concerned, is in the bag, is cast in concrete. That ship has sailed. Now, that seems a bit, if you like, counterintuitive, because between 2027 and 2031, a lot would have changed. Whatever postulation the PDP is banking on today, do you think it will still be the reality or valid by the time we hit 2031?
The Wike that I know is strong. I opened the support group for him 2021 before he even said he was going to contest.
Right.
I understand this man. And when I was telling Nigerians about him, they were like, this is a small fry. I'm glad that 5 years down the line, they now understand that he's not a small fry. Because he understands politics, he understands law, he understands delivery on projects, and he understands loyalty. When you mix all of this into a blend, it gives you a person that you can almost not beat. As it stands today, he will do nothing against Tinubu. A lot has been brought to the table to cause that division, and it has not happened so far. So he would support Tinubu wholeheartedly in 2027. Remember that Rivers State was the only South state that Tinubu won in 2023, courtesy of Wike. So what he tells you he will do. It will happen. Now there will be nothing to fight Tinubu. Once Tinubu wins, if he wins, only God knows that, then the pullback will start. The pullback from APC will start. His men will start pulling back into PDP. Some of them who are in the ADC will start pulling back into the PDP. It will be a fight. It will be a drag. Once Tinubu has finished his 2 years, if that happens, we will now weigh the strength of the APC at that time. But I think Wike is not. Wike is planning to be the vice president under the PDP ticket come 2031. It will be a northerner. He strongly believes in zoning, which is where his fight with Atiku was, because Atiku doesn't believe in zoning at all. Well, he believes in zoning when you zone it to the north, because we saw that happen in 2019. Okay, so that flip-flopping is why some people cannot say it openly that they wish Atiku gone, but they have to just. But Wike is somebody who can't make to not say his mind. So I still see, of course, whoever is going to be president in 2031 is going to be a northerner. That's 100% settled. Yes. So would it be an APC person? Would it be a PDP person? Would it be an ADC person? Would ADC survive if they do not win the presidential election? Remember, this is just a party that was jumped into in the last one year. Would they survive it? Those are the things we'll look at.
All right, I want us to talk about the APC now. Jumai mentioned a while ago a gentleman who said that on account of all of these developments we've seen the last few days in Kano, that the ADC has already won that state. His name is Alwan Hassan. He's a chieftain of the APC. Now, he said something in addition to that. He mentioned that a good number of the governors who have now moved to the APC from wherever, including from the PDP, do not have the best interests of President Tinubu or even the party at heart. All right, and even before now, we've heard that these guys are moving from a place of self-preservation to protect their political legacy, their structures in their respective states, and so on and so forth. I've spoken with people who say that, look, an imminent implosion is going to happen in the APC. Is that what you see?
Yes, I think the president has that in mind already.
So he suspects that too.
No, he knows that. You see, people don't see Tinubu for the genius that he is. That man, I think if they swap his brain with Elon Musk, it will still function. Both brains will function well. He's crazily intelligent, and what he's good at is not letting you know how intelligent he is. So he lets you take him for a fool. The first thing he did was he knew that they had 17 northern APC governors, and he knew that they were not really with him. Or they will be put in a corner by the northern elite where they will not be with him. So the first thing he did was to start drawing all the southern governors into APC one by one. Sheriff, Enugu, Mbaz, started drawing them in one by one. When he finished with that, then he now faced the North Central. The only one governor that was not with him, Mufwang, drew him on board. They now went to Northeast, drew in whoever was still hanging, so that as you are there and you are with Tinubu there, Tinubu will also own the next opposition to you in that seat. So in case you are banking on betraying him, he's banking on you betraying him. So he will make a substitute option that can deliver him 30% of the votes. Some will be ministers, some will be other people on board. When a person banks on you betraying him, he's not very easy to beat. So now you now come back to the governors. When you now see that you are trapped in almost every area, you now ask yourself, why will I betray him? For an article that has always contested for 24 years and has blocked the lifeline of all the other northern candidates, why should we throw our sitting president under the bus for you? When in 2031, one of us can imagine. If I was Tinubu, if Tinubu make me your advisor, you have small time. If I was Tinubu, I will come to a meeting of the northern governors, sit them down. Anybody with the largest vote will be my successor. Any state that gives me the largest vote
from the north,
you are the next president.
That's an incentive.
So you think I will now leave fighting for me being president to fight for you being who? Tinubu, take me on board. I'm good.
well, as interesting as that sounds right now, issues around APC, I mean, how do you woo these people into the party has also been of concern, because they had also say in the final analysis, the APC is Tinubu and Tinubu is APC. If you put that differently, what they're saying is, if we were to remove the Tinubu factor from the APC, there won't be APC when we wake up the next morning. Do you see the APC being able to, as it were, sustain all of this legacy that the president has built right from the days of AD into AC, through ACN, and now into APC?
I wanted to just harp on exactly what you said. You're brilliant. You see, Tinubu had only one party in 1999.
Right.
He had a sitting president that was very strong, Obasanjo, who had 26 governors, who did his best to frustrate him, created a faction inside his party. Then this Yoruba group, Afenifere, created a faction inside his party. When he saw, and his ability to really see what is on ground. When he saw that if I stay in this party with these people, they will sink me. He took his own 1/3 out of that party, created another party, put people around structure in different states, and grew that his one party to 5 states. When they got to 5 states, he saw that Buhari, who was in CPC, was not able to win at any point and was not able to come through. Tagged with him, saw that it was a chance of a northern president, and the north was 100% against Goodluck continuing, a southerner continuing. Not they hated Goodluck. Obasanjo has served 8 years, Goodluck has served 6 years, and Goodluck was talking about serving 6 years again on a single ticket. So they didn't want any of that. Tinubu saw all of that, found out that Buhari has a cult following, took his own 5 states, joined with him, brought all of that together, and now has 31 governors from one. I think people need to give that man his respect for what he has done in politics. He had the fight with Sanwo-Olu last year. We didn't hear a word from him. We didn't hear a word from Sanwo-Olu. They had the Miranda
at the House of Assembly
Obasa clash. They solved the back end. Those two are first of all mounting things, but the two main people, the governor and the president, said nothing. Went back end, fixed the matters, and matters have died down. That ability is what he brought on ground. His party president, late Buhari, didn't want him to even emerge. So when a man whose party doesn't want him to emerge still emerges, and now he's on the seat, and he has 31 governors, truly it's hard to beat. But he can be beaten because the economics is not doing well, the security has not done well, got better at a point, but has relapsed. Yes, has relapsed of late, and I believe the minister is having late night meetings on this. I'm aware of that. I've been part of one or two of the meetings to fix insecurity. So these are the issues that are on ground. If the masses are not with you, and if the ADC is able to produce a northern candidate, Tinubu is going to have it.
So let me just put you on the spot again. Now, with all of these that is happening when it comes to inflation, education sector, nothing to write home about, the health sector, now transportation, now we see the high rise in fuel. Do you think the masses are not with the APC?
I don't think the masses are with the APC. To be honest, I don't think the masses are with the APC because the masses think about survival, their safety, their welfare. We can talk about USA. Trump is trying to solve in 4 years everything that America needed to solve in 34 years. And now it's making him look like a dictator.
Like the bad guy.
Like the bad guy. Trying to fix every single thing at once. But the people you're trying to fix it for are now shouting no king. Because the masses are the masses. They just, for them, it's nothing should touch my comfort and my safety. And that's the masses. And that's, so would the opposition be able to play into the present sentiment of the masses? Remember, the masses have short-term memory, which is why politicians like it. If fuel now comes back to 500 naira by September, will the masses still be shouting? If insecurity has been largely curbed by September, will the masses be crying? So those are the things we are looking at that can change very fast before that time. So I don't think he still has some time to be able to swing the masses. But as of today, if an election takes place now, it's going to be war.
There's a concern that Nigerians have. Indeed, the same thing for the political class, right? You look at a gentleman like former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, right? He has hibernated, for want of better words, in the political space for a long time. One version of the story has it that the man is still reeling from the betrayal he suffered in 2015. Others say no, he has hit the reset button on his priorities, so he wants to engage differently away from partisan politics. In the middle of that, there's some sort of theory that, well, the Turaki-led faction of the PDP is trying to see how they can get him back into politics, perhaps to do his controversial, as it stands, last term as president. If we had all the Jonathans who are in hibernation of some kind in our politics come back into election going into 2027, do you think that will create a reset or some sort of, if you like, just do a flip on the realities today in politics?
Thank you for the question. I've been waiting for that question. I've said it before. Goodluck is the only person that can beat Tinubu.
No one else, not even Atiku.
Only person that can beat Tinubu. And this is why. It is still the turn in political swing. It's still the turn of the South.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Obi has the strongest support, massive support in the country, right? But there's still a strong distrust between the North and the Southeast. And I'm trying not to use tribe, that's why I used religion. There still is a strong distrust that even if Obi emerges, it doesn't mean the North will vote him. So that is there. So now and then he says he will do 1 term. I've not heard him say it again. He said it once. Since then, we've not heard it again. So there's no trust that he will do 1 term. The only person that is constitutionally bound to only do 1 term is Goodluck. And even that is controversial. Okay? So if Goodluck comes on board, Goodluck is not hated in the North. Like I told you, there's no state in the North that Goodluck will go that he cannot walk on the streets. And if he cannot walk on the streets, it's because there will be too much love and hailing for him. So he has the chance. But like you said, the man has been battered. People keep going to his house to tell him to contest. I've written, if he says he's going to contest, I may not support Tinubu, I will support him. But I don't see, you see, if you have been betrayed badly, you really, and then he wants the ticket on a platter of gold. Like, just come to my house, give me hand me ADC consensus ticket, and I'm good to go. The last time APC had to even do his screening online, yes, virtually, he didn't go anywhere. So there's a part of this game that comes with the fighting. There's a part of becoming that comes with the fighting. It's like you take an egg, and then you help the chick come out of the egg. The chick is going to die. So if he doesn't want to be part of the political fighting, then there are more wars as president. You have to win these ones before you go and win the other.
So if you can't win these at this stage,
at this small stage, you have the respect of everybody. Yes. If you come around, some people will go back. I don't believe Kwankwaso will contest against you. I don't believe Obi will contest against you. But he doesn't want to come out. At all. No matter, I've sent people to him. They've talked to him, they've begged him. He doesn't want to come out, so what do we do?
True to his words, he said they will remember me. And me.
So is that the reality? Are Nigerians remembering him now?
Remembering him.
Yes, we remember him, we like him. There was a time he went for the burial of someone's mom in Kano. He couldn't walk on the street. It took his car more than 30 minutes to leave the place. The hailing was too much. And just went for a normal condolence visit where there were other politicians there. But he most likely will not contest.
Interesting. Well, as it stands today, as they say in the US, the establishment is getting stronger in Nigeria. But you have also extensively alluded to the political sagacity of President Bola Tinubu. But when it's all said and done, are we having the right conversation about national development? Because for the whole time, or at least for the chunk of the time, we're politicking. We're talking about who goes where, who wins, who may not win, and stuff like that. Are we putting national issues of national interests on the front burner at this point, going into an election that will either make or mar many of these politicians and their ambitions?
I think it's not easy to put development on board 1 year from an election as it stands. And surprisingly, this was a year in which politicking started from 1 year into Tinubu's government. So it's not easy to tell people to now focus on development. Only few people like Wike are able to still be doing the politicking, fighting, and still be doing the infrastructural development work. I came through Abuja, I saw some, and I have not been here for like 3 months, and I saw some new roads also still being done. That's what we expect of politicians. Don't spend all your time just politicking. Keep doing the deliveries, keep having things to show. I came from Kaduna. The Kaduna road is still being worked on. I've been to like 4 or 5 states. Every single state I've been to, there's massive infrastructural work going on. Apart from road, I have not seen anything that I would say is wonderful. Do I think we are also affected by the Iran war on fuel? Yes, I believe that, because Dangote now has a global demand, and he's a businessman. You can't kill him for that. But how long does this take? And I blame Nigeria for this. In Qatar, they have 5 months deposit of fuel. In case there's any world crisis that
have something to fall back on.
They have a backup for 5 months, so they do not move their price. So for 5 months, the people in the state will not know that there's any fluctuation in price. We don't have that buffer, and we have to.
Incidentally, to time we fail us to talk about all of this, but again, this should be the crux of the conversation, whether before this next general election cycle or far beyond it. At this point, we'd like to say a big thank you to you for coming to share these very valuable thoughts with us this morning. Incidentally, this is what we're living. It's everyone. We also appreciate you for investing a part of your time with us this morning. Remember that the views of our guests are their opinions. I'm Uyi Agmofrebe.
And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program. Thank you, Tobo Wajay, for being a part of Global Morning. Have an amazing day ahead. And from Uyi and I, we say bye-bye.